See, realistically, if Nano didn't want to work on anything, Nano could have just said no. But Nano always said yes. Granted, they wanted the money to buy a house, right? But Red was always open to the idea of working with Nano. That much is evident. Messages I had with Nano showing I was happy for her about projects she was working on. I can't really thank you enough for working in a special Gabriel's card. I started crying and I saw the full finished art and making the most beautiful thing. Thank you, Cinder. Thank you for the opportunity. You've been working on so many cool projects lately too. I'm so happy for you. And then they just talk about, the projects. Oh, did Nano get the house? Nano's moving. Oh shit! Did they? Yo, congrats on the house, dude. I feel like I've watched someone through this document make enough money to buy a house, and that's impressive in and of itself. I don't understand how they're blaming Silvervale. Seems like she was misled as well. Yeah, I don't think you can blame Silvervale when Nanoless lied, right? like realistically, I haven't gotten to the Silvervale part, right? But you can't blame Silvervale when Nanoless is obviously blatantly lying, or at least lied in that one instance, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of happy we're delaying the moving because it's stressing me out. Also, I want to move. I wish I could leave it all behind. Nano told Red she was feeling burnt out, and he said we'd delay the next model for when she was ready for it. We wanted Nano to be the only one who made majority of models. We had no problem in waiting for her, like in the past. That's true. They've done this a million times. And then Nano's like, "Yo, do you think you can get someone else to make it?" And then Red's like, "What happened?" Nano's like, "I'm burnt out." Red's like, "Yeah, we could just get someone else to do it or delay it." And then, Red's like, "We just want you to be comfortable, but then do this." And when he's like, "I mean, dude, you work on it, whatever you feel like," you then say, "Okay, I'll do it." Nano created their own problem. I'm more and more seeing that Nano created their own problems. Wait, and then Red says we can worry about the Angel later. We have better time frame to start over the next few months. Are you still able to do 2.0 outfits? And then Nano's like, "Yeah, I can still do the summer thing." And then they're like, "Thank you for keeping me as Cinder's artist." What? Are you actually reading all 1,000 pages? Yes, because it is. Listen, if someone is going to cancel you and you come out with 1,000 pages of what you're saying is proof that you're actually innocent, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to believe you unless you prove me wrong, right? And I'm not going to lie. I've been going through the doc so far, and in my humble opinion, Cinder has been grossly misrepresented by Nano. Right? If I'm going to be honest, I know a lot of people will never read this document, and that sucks. That does suck for Cinder, because most people will never read it. They'll say too long, don't care. You're shifting blame, all that shit. But given the exact context of everything that is in here, Cinder was right when she first said that it wasn't her fault and it was Red's fault. But also, I think they are both grossly misrepresented because Nanoless lied and created more issues than there needed to be. And that, I think, is what initially started the spiral. Right? It's getting harder to take Nano's side. It is. It is. It really is. Right? But I think with the context that Nanoless first gave, and the context that all of the other people presented, which were based on the Nanoless context, that does paint Cinder to be a terrible and shitty person. Which, don't get me wrong, she's probably a shitty girl, right? Women get angry at each other for no fucking reason all goddamn time. But I don't think it's as bad as, it was made out to be. Right? Just do what I do and choose no one's side. I'm not taking a side. I'm just saying that objectively, I think Cinder is owed an apology to a certain degree. And it was so far only reading the Nanoless part. And Nanoless is either incredibly fucking stupid or just can't read English. And I want to hope that they just can't read English well. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm giving them a huge benefit of the doubt here. But like it like the problem that Nanoless creates for themselves is that they're claiming that Cinder and Red pushed them to be an exclusive artist. But that's not what happened. They willingly wanted to work with Cinder, right? And I think that's the part that is upsetting me the most, is that they made this large claim that they were pressured into being an exclusive artist, when with the given context, that's not what happened. Right? People are taking single tweet AI summaries and gospel and calling it a day. Watching this is pretty eye-opening, but holding out until the end. That'd be so bad if it'd been reading English is the reason for a lot of the blame. Yeah. To true though, if Nano has a manipulation issue, we need to see way more of what the snapshot of the situation is, and we most likely never get that. That's true. I'm telling you, man, she's not using her brain. Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious as, like, okay. Like, I don't know what other people's thoughts are on this so far, like, realistically. But I'm curious as to what other people are saying. I'm sure, again, a lot of people on Twitter aren't reading this. And so they're just going to say, fuck you, Cinder. Right? That is just a general thing that's going to happen. But, and that sucks for her, but she'll be fine. I read it all. What are your thoughts on Nyx? What are your thoughts on it? This is what I've seen so far. I've read it. Trust me. No normal human being has the time to read 3 novels. I think more people than just Red and Cinder made a fucky wucky. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Right? I think so far Nanoless is equally as fault as they are. They're just planning out more projects here, it looks like, right? And then it looks like they might have considered working with another artist. But Nano seemed to want to take the project again. I think, from my brief reading of this. Right? They changed a toggle to not be too similar to Shy Lily. That's fair. My message with Nano, where I helped her with an audio question. I was always willing to help Nano or any of my friends when I asked them for help. Okay. So they're just helping her with the issue. Nano told Red that she might be looking to focus on more projects with me because she was getting fewer commissions and would be taking less too. We were her most loyal and repetitious client. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Y'all just keep cooking. Also, I'm getting less commissions. I was thinking maybe stay more on Cinder work. So Nano seems very hungry for Cinder work. Right? It looks like. Let me just know when you're able to take and the Haven Hound, blah, blah. Okay, so they're willing to give her more work. Nano deliver project to Red and a collab with her comes up again. Thank you for continuing working with us. Thank you and Cinder for keeping me. We got to work on big things. They pay them. Red says, yo, when are you and Cinder collabing? And then Nano's like, maybe soon. While at Anime Expo, Red and I were sure we were there to see Nano at her first ever meet and greet. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Right? I'm gonna be honest with you. I got nothing against you, Natalis, but it is evident. Like there's enough evidence here to back up these Cinder claims so far. Way more evidence than you ever provided. And if I'm gonna be honest, you are equally at fault as they are. And that's kind of fucked up. That's kind of fucked up. Red asked Nano if she knew the Bow's model was going to debut so we could plan our schedule around it like we've done in the past with other people that she worked with. It was the end of July and he thought her model was already finished. The last time Nano had mentioned it to him was in November and she told him she planned to have it done by June. We saw the design at WeebCon in March when Bao showed us. Right? I just want to check in your schedule again and maybe to start in screen art. Do you have ideas? Blah, blah, blah. I wanted to ask you if you knew around when Bao was planning her debut, her model from you. Do you know when you're starting the art? Angel Cinder is looking to start in October. Anything cool you working on lately? Flavor art. And then asking about other people. Cinder's Angel model was booked for October. I was excited for what I thought was a model she was making for someone else. Yeah, I mean, there is enough evidence in their conversations that they don't want to debut on the same day as someone else. So they ask the artist the question so they could know when to plan their debut to not overlap. And I think that's fine. That's smart. And that's not evil. We've seen enough evidence in their conversations that they've always done that. Right? The only thing that they did that may seem fucked up from a different perspective is when they undercut the Silverveil thing, but they did that because they didn't want it to seem like they copied. Right? And that is what I'm getting so far. Let's see. I think you should just, especially in Brazil where there isn't a big market. Got a few new ones. I guess I'm going to move it in my own brand, but I'll work with Cinder until she dumps me. Do you have any tips on popping the bubble? Nana told me she didn't want to take anyone from her public information forum so she can do more streaming herself, saying she wanted to move on with her own brand and work with Cinder until we chose not to anymore. I encouraged her and offered my help. So Nano, it sounds like Nano just wanted to stream more and just work with Cinder if Cinder was paying the bills. Right? Let's see. And then Red asked about other clients, it sounds like, from what I can see here. And then, you know, Nano tells them, it looks like. And then Red is assuring them that they can, like, do more good work. Or actually, no, they're assuring them they could be a good streamer. Okay, that's a good thing. Red reaffirms the statement until she dumps me, saying you'll be working for us forever, but that's a joke, obviously. Nano says that they're willing to cancel more models unprompted. Huh. This is once again Nano bringing this up. Jesus Christ, dude. That's fucked up. That's actually fucked up. What is this? People are gonna have to wait for people to oh shit, my fucking thing fucked up. Have to wait for people to analyze and make videos, and I think it's gonna end up being Nano bad, Cinder still sucks. Not as bad. Red still sucks. Charlie might suck. Unsure about this. Poor Bao. Yeah. 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 Why is chat talking about Nux Taku? What the fuck did Nux do? Why is there a Nux Taku mentioned in my chat right now? This is why I like you, Evan. Always so instinctive and analytical and not the majority. Well, yeah, because like the thing is, I just want to be fair to everybody involved, right? And objectively, Nano is making some pretty brash decisions here. You know? And then Nano talks about the other models. And then Red is asking if Bows is one of them. Nano saying I didn't start Bow yet. And then, you know, they're talking about it again. And then Red jokes about finding a new artist, right? I asked about Bao being one of the finished models debut because I was under the impression Bao was already done. Nana told me that their model wasn't even started. Me saying to her that we'll find a new mama for being busy is a joke. Yeah, that's obviously a joke. I get that. That does come off as a joke. I'm not going to lie. Her saying that Bao's not started is kind of throwing me off as well, because it sounded like she was already working on the Bao model with what she had said before, but whatever, you know? Red asking when they want to start doing their own thing. Nano saying, let's see, they're trying to do their own model. Nano asking if they should cancel on Bao. Do you think Bao would kill me if I cancel on her? Red says no, but she'd guilt trip you. But if that's best for you, then I think you should. Yeah, Red, I'm not going to lie here. Red is a very caring individual in this instance. I got to give more points to Red here. Red's not telling her to do it. Red's just like, yo, you want to work on your own thing. Do what's best for you. Yeah, Nano asking is insane to then go ahead and say, I got manipulated. Right? That is kind of wild. I don't know. I don't know, man. Okay. I don't know how the people involved in this will respond to this, right? Because especially the people that attack Cinder, you know, how do you attack? Like, how do you come back from the attack on Cinder? Do you apologize? Because realistically speaking, if we look at this and we see that Nano is a liar, right? if Nano is a liar, which I think she is right now, and you guys backed her the fuck up, how do you then come back from that? Or do they just ignore it? Because there's multiple routes that creators could take. They ignore what Cinder has posted and pretend like it doesn't exist, right? That's the smartest thing to do. Or they talk about it and admit that Nano lied about a lot of things, right? And it makes them look bad because they backed up Nano. And I don't know. She should have just got pregnant and came back and they're posting baby pictures on the low-key. What are you talking about, scrubbing? It depends on how much this doc proves. Even so far, you kind of have... Yeah, right? Like, so far, I'm not going to lie. I've admitted I will apologize to Cinder to some degree. Because Nanoless is objectively in the wrong here. As much as Red. Cinder and Red do get manipulative down the line, I'm sure. But a majority of this is Nanoless gaslighting herself. Right? Like, this is just Nanoless, right? Doing this to herself so far. I mean, as soon as you don't have model work, you can work on your own debut and stream, and Cinder and I can help out. I'm not telling you to cancel her model. It just sounds like that'd be best for what you want to do. Yeah, I'll think about it. Is Bao the last one? Yep, got to do blank 2, which I'm considering canceling too. And then I can because I settled to start right now. Yeah, Red is literally like, dude, like, do what's best for you. Out of nowhere, Nano asked me, do you think Bao would kill me if I don't work with her? If I cancel on her, she was already considering canceling it on her own. This is a huge difference from how she felt about Bao's model last November. Oh yeah, no, Nano's doc is completely falling apart. She said she really wanted to work with Bao, and now she wants to cancel on Bao. And then she goes ahead and eventually blames Cinder and Red for making that happen. Yikes. Yikes. That's a yikes, chat. Hello, Evan. Is there a TLDR? No, we're like objectively just going through it. I told Nano she should do what's best for her. Unless model work she meant she could do, she wanted to do sooner, we'd help her with her stream. From my own experience with Bao, I thought she could be whiny and pushy when things didn't go her way. So I thought she'd complain and guilt trip Nano. I was being honest with my friend about another friend. I never asked her to cancel Bao's model or any of her other model. Nano told me she was already thinking about it, plus canceling another VTuber model. So this was just about Bao. Nano could have said anyone's model, and I still would have said the same thing if that's what she thought was best for her, and doing so agreed with how I thought about more Nano models. She told me Bao's model hadn't even been started either, so I assumed it was all done. Must have been the design. I was closer to Nano than I was to Bao, so I was for supporting Nano with what she wanted to do over telling her to keep any projects she was already considering canceling. None of this context was shown in Nano or Bao's document. Yeah. It's like rude to call your friend pushing and whiny. Creators, from what I recall, convinced Nano to put the doc out so it really doesn't look good as a fuck up. Yeah. All right. Nano was involved in drama with a live 2D rigger. I thought it was important to bring up how Nano reacted and responded to the situation. Nano made a public call out post in this live 2D rigger she worked with in the past after seeing someone else post about him. This is when Nano called out Kevin, right? When Kevin, I think, changed the Iron Mouse model. Yeah, I remember that. And then Nano admitted that she never communicated with the person that she publicly called out. Nano said that she could stand up to clients and refuse work with them if they were having their model rigged by this person. Hero read in DMs with Nano the day this happened. He talked to Nano about the two models she made and showed her support over the drama. Nano had no problem with gossiping. I'm seeing Blank's debuting her Nano model. Oh, did she announce something? No, but Blank is working on art for her outfit. And looks like it could be a mouse pad. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's true. No one can hit an Nano's original. I might know someone now. What? No way. And then someone removed Nanolist from the tag. I don't care, Lee, he's probably wants to publicly forgive him so the image stops burning. Yeah, his small people ego is hurt. So Nano's just talking shit about. Are they talking shit about Kevin here? Okay. I don't know why the inclusion of this is important in this doc, but I think Cinder's trying to point out that Nano will call people out without ever talking to them about it. Right? And if that is her point, I still think this was unnecessary. You know? I don't think that that's necessary in here. I think Nano looks bad enough. It could be establishing a pattern of behavior, but I don't think that was necessary because I'm gonna be honest with you, Cinder, I'm already on your side. You know, that Nano is a lying piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like we've established that, lore. You know, like that's fine. Let's see. I'm kind of scared, but I didn't do the right thing. Someone says something like he was doing this for years. And are you working blank blank? Yeah, it's out of my side. The rigging looks well. Some of my messages here aged really well. The rigging looks really nice. Not gonna lie, I keep thinking about Cinder 3.0 all the time. I'm so hyped. As stated in Rigger's now deleted tweet, Nano removed herself from direct conversation and used emotional language to attack and rally rather than actually caring about fixing the problem. The art that I provided instructions for 7 months. Wait. So Nano had 7 months to talk to him about it and she never did? Well, that's context to me that I didn't have, right? That, like we didn't know that before. Interesting. Whatever. Unrelated. Don't care. That has nothing to do here. But I will say, you know, that's kind of fucked. Thank you for the follow. Red asked Nano if she decided to cancel any model projects like they had talked about before. He did not name anyone. Also wondering if you had decided to cancel. And then she said, no, I haven't canceled anything yet. Actually, give me another moment. And then he's like, yo, Cinder needs this stuff. The reason I followed up and asked Nano if she had anything to cancel because it could be possible to affect our project schedule. With her, Nano said that she didn't cancel anything yet. She did not tell me she decided not to cancel anything at all. She told me to give her a moment about it. She told me previously there were 2 models she was considering canceling. Yeah, there were unrelated messages about my projects we're talking about between these. Okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yada, yada. They're replying right now. Give me another moment, by the way. Meanwhile, could you give me a full list for the Angel model? I bumped Nano again about 6 hours later, and she said someone was replying to her now. And then, all right, it's not you, Nano. I'm just between like 20 projects and IRL things right now. I'll give you a list when I talk to Cinder. Let me go ask. Okay, I know y'all just live in a rush. Did you cancel the models? I did not. Nano arc delayed to 2026. Another 20 minutes later, when I said, did you cancel the models? It was all cancelled because of the previous message sent. In fact, I hadn't heard anything from her. Yeah, okay. I can see why people thought that Red was manipulating here. But with the context, we see that Nano wanted to cancel the models. And Red was like, okay, well, if you cancel the models, we can give you work. But Nano wasn't communicating if they had or hadn't done it. And Red just wanted to know. Interesting. Nano once again says, I'm scared to cancel with Bao, even though they were the one that brought it up. And then Red is like, well, I mean, you shouldn't be scared. She'll find someone pretty fast. We saw this context out of context last time. Don't sell yourself short. Think you'd be fine with taking the design and finding someone else. I wouldn't offer it for free. Maybe half price if she starts shit. I'll talk to her today. We were close to the model. So Red's just trying to help Nano figure out their own problems. Right? I don't care what anyone says. I still think bro is redacted. Nano brought up Bao again and said she was scared to cancel her. She didn't say she chose not to cancel any of her projects or that she didn't want to cancel with Bao anymore, only that she was scared to do it, which explained why she hadn't canceled anything yet. I was not the one to bring up Bao again, and I did specify anyone we had previously talked about. I reassured Nano about it later, and I told her I thought that she should be at least somewhat paid for the design and she made and work she put into it. My thought was that Bao could possibly start shit over this was the same as I said before, where I thought she'd complain or guilt trip Nano over it. Nano agreed with me and said that she regretted opening her other model applications in the first place. All of the lead up to the conversation was left out in Nano and Bao's docs. Yeah, we only got to see this part in that doc, and with the context, yikes, dude. So far, the only thing I'm going to assume ahead of time is that Cinder and Red shouldn't have had beef with Silver, and that poor Bao just needs a break from so much misfortune. She should have shipped her doc to a private Harvard English professor to hire to make it better, like she's dreamed Minecraft. So this docky is more of a Cinder and Redacted hit back at Nano kind of doc. No, I think it's them hitting back at everybody. Right? Like everyone. But so far here in the beginning, Nano is a victim of their own undoing, right? All right, let's see. Let's see, blah, blah. Nano comes back and says, all right, I can start Cinders right now. And Red is like, what are you, like, huh? You know, and then Nano's like, I'll ask you to rush if possible. And then Red is like, what the hell do you do? And then Nano's like, just ask my current model timeline and it's safe to delay it. And Red's like, all right, bet. So like Red doesn't ask for too many details. Red's just like, cool, I guess. If you're willing to work, we'll give you the work. But then in Nano's document, Nano makes it seem like they're forcing her to do this. Right? That's crazy. Wait until you get to Shia Lily. Oh my God. That's interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Like, I think Red is stupid. I think Cinder is stupid. But I think Bao might have just been a victim in all of this and got caught between the crossfire of a lie that Nano spun. Right? Is my guess. Yeah, like if there is a victim alongside Cinder right now, it's definitely Bao so far. Which kind of sucks. But yeah. This is what Red told me in our DMs right after he talked to Nano. Nano was able to start the Angel model right after Summer Foxes. Yay. Okay, so Red just like, all right, cool. Later that night, Red told me Nano was going to cancel Bao's model because she wanted to stream more and focus on her own VTubing career. We saw that. He said he would help her out and that Nano was able to start on my Heaven Hound model early now. I felt bad for Bao because she said how excited she was about the design she showed us in person. But I was under the impression that this was what Nano wanted. She was my friend too, and I wasn't going to pressure her to do something she didn't want to do. I didn't see Red's messages and only knew what he told me. If I really wanted Nano to cancel Bao's models for the malicious reasons, I knew I could make her do it through some kind of manipulation. Why would I have waited 8 months after I first found out about it in November and told Nano she shouldn't? But why did I wait 4 months after WeebCon in March of 2024 when Bao showed it to us? Why, when I thought Bao's model was already finished in June, like she told me it was planned for, would I have gone out of my way to make Nano cancel it now? Although I was closer to Nano, Bao was still a friend and I didn't have any problems with her back then. My opinion of her, of how she could have responded to Nano canceling on her, doesn't change that. Nano has worked with multiple friends of ours in the past, and it wasn't a problem, including Bao in this situation. But I wasn't supporting what Nano expressed to me she wanted to do for herself, and as her friend, I reassured her it would be okay. This wasn't for Nano to have more time for us instead of anything she had planned. The only projects we had upcoming with Nano at the time was Cinder's Angel model and starting screen art, which we were content with being starting in October, like Nano had told us before. It was only after all of this that Nano told me she could start it earlier, which affected our project timeline. That's why I asked if she decided to cancel anything, and I didn't expect her to move up our project. So Nano made that decision. Interesting. Yeah. Red asking how her conversation in Bao went. All right, blah, blah, blah. Fishing arms. I will be talking to Bao right now. She replied to my I post. Got a bit, I'll wait a bit. I don't know if she will hate me for it forever. And then Red's like, you know, she won't hate you forever, maybe just for a few days or whatever. So Red's just asking again, like, hey, how'd your conversation go? Which is a fair thing to ask because it's the thing that Nano brought up. Nano said that she was scared to talk to Bao, so being her friend, I asked how it went. If Bao's design was done and the model wasn't even started like Nano had told me, I didn't think it was a problem if Bao could just take a design to another model artist. Hypothetically, I thought there was been time to hit her planned Valentine's debut with Nano window Nano told me about. Here's my question though, right? Because so far we've determined that, you know, Nano lied, obviously. But why would she make the doc Did she get caught up in her lies, and was she pressured into making a doc? Right? Like why? Why did she do that? You know what I mean? How long ago did this document come out? A few hours. She probably got pressured. Scapegoat. I guess that's where Shy Lily chapter comes in. Oh my God. Wait a minute. Hold on. There's hidden lore here. There's hidden lore. I could easily see anyone in the past, first 1 to 2 people with the DMs could have been misled like the intent was. Yeah. It was probably pressure. Interesting. All right, let's see. So design, I don't think it's a big deal. Okay, sent. I'm here for emotional support. Thank you, hurt my soul. This whole situation wrong of both of us. Nana should have asked me about what she wanted to do with her other commissions, and I shouldn't have waited on what I thought. I'm sorry about my actions. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Red's at fault here. If I'm gonna be real, if I'm gonna give everyone shit, but also be fair, I think Red is beating himself up over this. I think Red is taking responsibility for something that wasn't his fault. Right? And I think that's another point for Red. Right? Because it is very evident to me while reading this that he's not as fucked up as we initially might have thought. He's stupid for some of his statements, for sure, but not as fucked up. It was after this when Bao messaged our group chat and our friends and Nano dropped her as a client. I felt guilty knowing about this before Bao had told us. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. I was the only one who was known to always work with Nano, but if this was her decision, I didn't want to get involved. I should have been a better friend to Bao, but at least try to do something for her, but I didn't. I don't think Cinder's at fault here either. Right? I don't think Cinder's at fault here either. Cinder didn't ask her to do it. Nano did that on her own. This isn't me taking sides or anything, but genuine question. Given the 5+ months it took to drop this, how hard would it be to fabricate the screenshots? It would take a lot of fucking effort to fabricate these screenshots. I'm going to be honest with you. And I feel like it would be very easy to... Because here's the thing. It's a 1,000-page document, right? Cinder knows that most people won't read a 1,000-page document. In fact, if I get on Twitter, most people are already saying, yeah, fuck you, I'm not reading that, you're a piece of shit, go away, right? So even if she took the effort to fabricate 1,000 pages here, right? Like, realistically, it's not gonna save face for her, you know? So I don't think they're fabricated. You would have to make the time similar enough to be believable for each single screenshot on conversation. Oh, that's the other part. You are absolutely right about that. She has a defense with the context being there for the ones that will read it and actually care. That is a good defense, but I mean, who's crazy enough to take 5 months to fabricate every single screenshot? I don't think that there is a single human being that is that insane. I know you want to believe that Cinder and Red are some mastermind manipulators, but it would be incredibly easy for literally fucking Bao go live, open up her or Nano to go live on fucking Twitch, open up her conversation with Red and scroll and show every single message. This entire document would fall apart in 5 fucking seconds, right? If that happened. And yeah, like I don't think that Nano's gonna fucking do that if it's true. You know? It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. Exactly. I'm not saying she fabricated. I'm saying putting the doc out, even knowing most people won't read it, is a defense. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm well aware, she's aware that most people won't read this. But, like, it is evident so far that it's a good defense. But I do think there are people crazy enough to fake it. I don't think that this is happening here. Yeah. I called this shit out months ago. It was hard to believe Cinder did this shit, but I also said people can be crazy. That's true. That is true. After I posted my apology, Bao tweeted this, talking about her model being canceled last August, asking how I didn't know about it. It was a standalone tweet, not as a reply to my apology. and not quoting it either. How can you say you didn't know I should have built my base model sketch from ReapCon? And we walked on stage, talking later. You were in the group chat where I shared my sadness over Nano suddenly canceling my model. If we were so close, not to find out just the day before I shared my sadness. This is just a conversation that happened that ruined months of debut prep planning and merch preparation. If you want to apologize to me, please do it properly and stop hiding behind red. Yeah, Nano didn't provide any of the context to Bao. So Nano just lied to Bao and said that it was Red's fault. No, this isn't the point against the whale. This is just the context that Bao had was Nano lied to her. And, you know, Bao was like, how the fuck would you not know when you and Red told her to do it, right? Because that's what Nano made it seem like, you know? But the reality is Nano decided this on her own. And yeah, Bao just got caught in the crossfire. This is fucked up. Her fans are reading notice she's not gone, and her old friends might read it and wonder if they were lied to by others. The point of being long is to gatekeep. Only those invested would spend time reading it. Fair. It would take 5 months just to go through with fine-tooth comb for 2 separate accounts, Red and Cinder, and compile all this structure and format in this digestible way. Yeah. Bao is definitely a victim here. Yeah. 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 That's fucked. That's fucked, dude. I was aware that since this Bao model was canceled before she said anything, I haven't claimed otherwise anywhere, and I didn't say anything about it in my apology. I was not aware of Red giving Bao's name to Nano in his exclusivity negotiations in January 2025. This is what I said. Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in direct negotiations on their eventual agreement. I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in the shit. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. After Bao posted, I messaged the one friend that could get a message to her since she had already unfriended me and I had no way of contacting her. Red and I had a falling out the night the documents dropped, and we didn't live together anymore, so I had no other way to access his DMs myself to go back and see everything he was saying and doing to make sure it was right. All I had to go off was what Red had told me in August about this and was posting Nano and Bao's documents, and now Bao's tweet after my apology. I don't know if she ever got this message, but she never reached out to talk. I told friends that I didn't know the model was canceled because of Red's conversation with Nano, and not that I didn't know it was canceled at all. That, you know, that is fair. I will give Cinder this, right? I will give Cinder this. I have had my fair share of issues with Bao in the past. And instead of Bao willing to hear me out, to hear the truth, she just immediately blocked me. You know what I mean? So, I'll give her this. I do believe her in the instance where she says she tried to reach out and Bao just blocked her. You know what I mean? Because that's happened to me before. So that's a little bit fucked, right? In Bao's tweet, she said that before her model was canceled in August of 2024, they were so close to begin the live 2D rigging. But and in Nano's document, it said that Red asked me to cancel and one of their closest friends, Bao, by asking me to cancel my work mid-progress, followed by saying Red contacted me specifically to check on me canceling the model I had planned with Bao. But then she says clearly that she never started Bao's model. So she lied to Bao saying she started. Bao believed her. And, you know, when she lied and said that Red said that I should cancel it. And then Nano said that she never started. At this point, who is Nano lying to? Is Nano lying to Red? Is Nano lying to Bao? But either way, Nano is fucking lying. I thought that you blocked Bao. I mean, eventually I did block Bao, but I unblocked her. I just didn't want to. I mean, to be honest, right? Like, I have nothing against Bao. I want to make that very, very clear. But at the time that shit was going on between Bao and I mean, she was angry at me. I didn't hate her. I still don't hate her. But eventually I just didn't want to deal with the bullshit anymore. So I just blocked her because she blocked me. I was like, fuck it, I'll just block you too. But then I unblocked her because I was like, I literally don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that negatively affects my life, you know? So yeah. How could it have been canceled mid-progress and close to being rigged if it wasn't started? And if it was so close to rigging, why would Nano have even considered canceling it if it just finished it? I think Bao would have said if her model was canceled mid-progress in her messages to me and our friends, it was instead of just she dropped as a client, Nano had to drop me as a client because of her work schedule is too hectic. In Bao's document, she said there was a sudden back and forth on whether or not Nano had the physical and mental capacity to continue her model. Going to the live 2D Illustrator after she finished both the design and the base model sketch, there was suddenly a back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue, which lines up with what Nano said to Red, and Nano repeatedly overbooked herself, but was never shown anywhere. Yeah, Bao saying there was a back and forth also could imply that Nano already approached her saying that she may not continue her model before August 5th when Red messaged Nano. Also, Red didn't contact Nano to specifically check on Nano canceling Bao's model. Yeah, we see that. We see that. Another conversation Red and Nano showed, and Nano was treated trying to plan my collab with her, and Red complimenting Nano. Yeah, Red and yeah, okay, that's fair. Let's see. Red is just trying to plan a collab between Nano and Cinder, it looks like. But then Nano doesn't ever give him a time frame on if they could do that collab. Interesting. After over a year of Red and I encouraging Nano to come to my stream, we finally had her first collab, and it was on her birthday. They had fun. And then, okay, they did shit. Whatever. My DMs with Nano after she was on my stream celebrating another one of her model debuts and messages around my birthday. So Cinder's just showing, yeah, we were still friends. We still supported each other. Nano told Red that she was up to take on more of our work, followed by another instance that shows Nano was treated. Let's see. Definitely keep an eye. You know, I'm always up to it. I'll tell you if you're interested in checking more info. So yeah, Red is just presenting Nano with an idea, and Nano's like, yeah, I'm willing to take on the work. And let's see. And then where did the conversation of cheap come from? I would never want big names like Cinder to have something cheap. Where does that come from? Why did she mention sheep? Okay, whatever. I hope that everyone in the video community who has stepped back from this situation a couple of months now can hear and see this new 1,000-page doc shown and posted and see the sides of this. How did you fight with Bao, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. I got canceled for being a sex pest in the community for me saying that it is okay for a woman to have sex with 5 guys, right? Because I was given the information that a woman had sex with 5 guys one night at a convention. And I said, okay, that's fine. I mean, if she had sex with 5 guys, that's just proof that she's getting someone you're not, right? And somehow, some way, you know, that got turned into me being a sex pest, right? Like, people spun that as, oh, like, you know, like, you're a sex pest. You're always, like, you know, trying to sleep with all these women and shit like that. Because some other girl then came out and was like, oh my God, Evanito is a sex pest. Here's proof, showing tweets that I made, which, if you haven't noticed, I make a lot of very stupid fucking tweets, to, you know, my disadvantage, because, you know, they come back to bite me in situations like that. Granted, I beat all the allegations. The main tweet being a true and real instance, which my friends who were involved in that, by the way, corroborated, where I had friends, both in relationships and married, who would ask me for, advice on how they looked in an outfit or if their nudes looked good. All right. This was unprompted, by the way. I didn't ask them to send me this. They willingly shared that with me themselves without me asking, not me being a sex pest, by the way. And I just made that evident and clear in my tweet. I'm like, it's weird that I have friends that do this. Right. But apparently that made me a sex pest. And that's one of the things that Bao was saying about me, which obviously wasn't fucking true. And I hit up Bao like, yo, what the fuck? Like, dude, like, can we talk about this? But by then she just blocked me and didn't want to fucking say anything. And I didn't care. Like, I didn't like make a big deal out of it. Like, obviously I could have done the whole approach like, oh, I could make a doc proving I'm innocent. But my whole thing was, it's not true, so I don't care. It's just going to go away eventually. And don't get me wrong, it took like a year, but it did eventually go away. I had so many fucking big creators unfollow me because of that. So many, right? But then eventually we all met up, we talked, and they were like, Evan, we're sorry. Like, I had some people apologize. Some people just never apologize and we're just cool again. But now people are chill with me again. Right. But that's just the TLDR of what happened. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's weird on those friends showing you their nudes without even asking first. It is, but whatever. I'm an open person. I've always been an open person. And I like shit like that doesn't bother me. I don't try to let a lot of things bother me. But yeah, that's the TLDR in the Bao situation. Right. And what did Bao say exactly? Bao specific words were clout rotted my brain, which then spiraled to her agreeing with the person that said I was a sex pest, which then made a lot of people agree with Bao because, she's the bigger creator and that's just naturally what happens there. But yeah, that was that. I've never talked to Bao about it since then. She's never apologized. I don't really expect her to, and honestly, I don't even know if I want her to. But I've seen her since then in person at events. We haven't spoken. But I don't hate her. I really don't. So yeah. You know what they say, a bigger number, better person. True. But yeah, whatever. All right, what is this? It goes over my gamer sub shorts. Just keep me updated on the main stuff. It's not urgent. We're doing blank and AFK. Okay. About 2 months after canceling Bao's model, Nala asked Red about us paying for her to cancel her projects. Nano asked it. She brought up the possibility of some kind of exclusivity deal for Red for the first time, saying that she just wants to do Cinders. Wait, so Nano made it seem as if though Red asked for that. Or she asked for it? Wait, what? Huh? Interesting. What's the verdict on this document? You kind of, like when Quite got canceled and then Quite came out with a document that proved that he was innocent. This is like the Quite document, except like instead of, like how Quite was 100% innocent, it's more like Cinder's still like 50% at fault, I'd say so far. Right? But not completely at fault. You know what I mean? But a lot of it seems to like, I don't even know if I believe that. I think in my personal opinion, reading only an analyst part so far, Cinder is, I would say, 30% at fault. Right? And I would say that Nanoless is 70% at fault, because it seems that at every waking moment, there is more and more evidence that Nanoless caused this to happen to herself. You know what I'm saying? Like it just is weird, right? That doesn't make sense. Wouldn't Nano just not accept comms from someone else instead of talking to Red about it? Just after this bit, it makes me think a lot could have been solved in conversations privately. It is okay. I will admit, Nano asking for exclusivity is fucking strange. But we have evidence that Nano gaslit herself into canceling other things. So at this point, I can't even defend or agree that Nano is a competent human being. I'm not saying that Nanoless is stupid as fuck, but she sure is acting like it from the fucking screenshots I'm seeing. And I have nothing against her. I want to make that clear, right? But from what I'm fucking reading right now, it just seems like it, you know? This is what I said about Nano accepting my projects and my apology. Every time I had been told that Nano had agreed to work on a new commission with me, it had been willingly and with excitement. From my point of view, it was that she genuinely wanted to be working on these things. I wanted to work with Nano as much as I possibly could, making her art the face of my brand. This was followed by her canceling a long list of model projects herself for a bunch of different VTubers after filling up her waitlist with more projects that she could reasonably take on. Of her own volition, Nano canceled a large portion of her model commissions last September. This entire conversation was left out in Nano's document, and all the blame for these models' cancellations was put on me unread. That is true. She did kind of make it seem like they did that, right? That is kind of true, right? I recall she was just deflecting a lot. Well, like we said earlier, English jokes don't always translate well to other languages, so it could just cause her to panic, the biggest money source to never come back. And that's what I was saying earlier, right? I wonder if it was like lost in translation because Nano said that she doesn't speak English very well. Which, I don't know, man. It's like, even with that, even if we say that Nano doesn't speak English very well, right? With as much as she is typing in English right now, she seems competent enough to understand most things. You would have to like you would have to I don't know, draw like the wildest conclusion that somehow, some way, she is that fucking incompetent. And I don't believe that. I just don't. More so, it seems very likely that she just lied, right? Which she blatantly did to Silvervale. She said, I'll just tell her that this happened instead. We've already seen the proof that she lied to Silvervale. You know? So with that, she then lied in her document. She left out very important context where it is evident that she made the decisions, not Red and Cinder. But it is strange. It is very strange that she made these approaches, lied in her document, and then made a document that she lied in, I should say. Why would she make a document when she herself should be aware that she lied? Right? If you were one of the 6 features at a project with Nano cancel around this time, this would happen. Once again, I had no involvement in the conversation. Only talk to happen afterwards. Nano, are you free tomorrow? Sure. Okay. As for Gamersubs label, Red, yes. Hypothetically, if I accept to be paid to cancel every comm that's not Cinder, would you pay it? I don't understand. Oh no. Nanoless did make the approach. Oh. That doesn't look good for her, man. That doesn't look good for her. Yep. Yeah. I think I owe Cinder an apology. I think I genuinely owe Cinder an apology. And in fact, I'm going to DM her right now saying, hey, man, I haven't even finished the doc, but so far I think I owe you an apology. Yikes. That's kind of fucked up, dude. I'm not going to lie. That is kind of fucked up. Kind of fucked up. Ooh. Ugh. Ugh. Let's read everything. Yo, I want to be fair. Uh, uh, I did say that I would give her an apology. I mean, in the instances where it seems like fucking, I don't like, I don't know. I was one of the advocates that said it is very possible that like maybe she was a bitch, right? But like seeing this empirical evidence that Nanolist might have been the one to ask, I feel bad for. To be fair, it was all the information we were given. We were given the Nanolist screenshots, and I'm not gonna lie, out of context, it is very damning. It is extremely damning out of context, right? And it sucks. I'm freaking out with my commissions. I just want to do Cinder stuff. I'm dying. I want to do my own shit too. I didn't mean to ask such a weird question. It's okay. I don't know what you mean. Do you mean you want to cancel your current commissions that aren't Cinder and then we pay you? Like we'll pay you for work for us, and if you want to do more to replace your other comms, we can do that. Exclusivity? I mean, it depends on if you're thinking about it. We've never paid someone an exclusivity fee. And then Red started asking questions about how this would work. That's interesting. Read the entire document before saying anything. No, you're right. You're right. I didn't send the message. I started typing up the apology. Okay? I didn't send it. Nana told me she was freaking out about her missions, but she accepted too many and just wanted to do Cinder stuff plus her own thing. Exactly like she's been telling me for months. What happened in Bao's model was a precursor to this. She is the first one to suggest the possibility of exclusivity, showing she had interest in making an exclusivity deal with Cinder and I as far back as September 2024. Interesting. But if you want to do stuff with us, just keep giving you new projects. We'll pay for an exclusivity fee. To me, sounds like just pre-ordering a bunch of work for you. Then you don't work with anyone else. Yeah, I think I might just stick with a few clients. If you're worried about the lack of work from canceling things, we'll just give you more to do. New comms are exciting, but I'm tired. And then there's like, maybe that's my fare. If you want to think over more what you're looking for, we can talk about it. By this, did you mean for us to pay you to cancel the projects? Yeah, it's a silly thought. Nano said that Red made them. That Red brought up the suggestion to pay them to cancel other projects. But Nano brought it up? Oh, that's so fucking weird. So then who pressured her into making a doc? This is a smear campaign, bro. I'd beat the shit out of this woman. Pause. Hold on. As a woman, I would. Not as a man. But I mean, like this bitch lied. You know? Like, it's crazy. Like, what the fuck? Lily, by the sounds of it. Evan. You know what I meant. By this, did you mean first pay you? As a silly thought? Okay. Yes, she suggested we pay her to cancel on 6 VTubers. I wasn't going to pay Nano just to cancel other projects except Silverville, who I said is a joke, but if she chose to cancel them herself, we'd replace her with other income of our own. I chose to leave the list of names uncensored here, so these people know exactly how and why their models were canceled, since it was falsely blamed on me and Red. That's a power move, bro. That's a power move. Clippers, do your thing. Listen, man, there's enough bad clips of me out there. I don't care at this point. Let's see. I think I'll just freak out and cancel all my ship. How much do you have besides our own stuff? Cinder, who is mostly using my work. OB Katie, Iron Mouse, Giga, Iron Mouse again, Zenshreya, Fufu, and Megalodon. Anyway, guys, I'm collabing with Megalodon later tonight. I just want to bring that up. I'm not even joking. We're reacting to clips my chat sent me, I guess. What a weird place to plug it, but it's true. Nana wanted us to pay for her to cancel these 7 commissions for other people. If we were to pay her price of them just to cancel them, it would have cost us $40,000 to $50,000. I think you're just gonna be focused here, sitting there in your own content, just drawing art again at Twitter, Patreon, and good. That's my dream. We don't know if you'd be making the same money doing all these model comms. I miss doing illustrations. I can always cry on blank for extra cash, I guess. That's not what I meant. We'll still try to give you all the work we can. Like, yes, there will still work with other artists on things. This is hard to explain. For instance, we won't just do models and starting screen artwork. We can do more art or other things, merch, gamer subs work, obviously. So Red, despite all of this, Red decided, okay, well, we can try to look into making this work. Right? Nano brought it up, but Red was like, sure. I mean, if it helps you out, we can try to do that. That's insane. Will this stream be over by then? Okay, listen, relax. We're 5. I've been reading this shit for 5 hours. Wait. It's 5 a.m. Holy shit. Holy shit. God damn. Hey, man, we're being thorough, all right? We're being thorough. The Dakothon. Evan, why are you in the CNT time zone? Which page out of 1,000 are you? I don't know. I'm on page 170 out of 237 on the nanoless part, so I don't know what page it is exactly, right? You're 5 hours. That's a quarter. Hey, man, I'm working on it, Chad. I'm working on it. It's going quicker because of the screenshots. Don't get me wrong, right? Because I'm not reading every screenshot, right?
I was stating that there are obvious holes in everyone's story and that it's likely none of them are innocent, but 1,000 pages can't wait to see the breakout.
I was stating that there are obvious holes in everyone's
fucking TTS
story
is reading
and
it twice.
that
I'm
it's
sorry.
likely none of them are innocent. But
I'm
1,000
chat.
pages can't wait.
You're
to
almost
see the
halfway there.
breakdowns.
You're right. Chad, I'm gonna order breakfast at this point. All right. Your sleep schedule is cooked. Well, I'm not going to the gym today. I literally told my friend that I'm not. I told like Mari and Kayla I'm not going to go to the gym today. I was like, I'm going to read this entire doc. They're like, good luck, Evan. I'm committed. I'm committed. But I guess I'm ordering breakfast. Focus considered her content with Nana's dream. I told her we'd give her everything we could, but I warned if I didn't know if she'd make the same money as she would from model commissions. And then they talked more about it. And then so Red's like, so what do you want to work on? And Nano's like, I'm just gonna cancel stuff. All right. And then gotta put myself first. Red, should I cancel blank? Say yes or no, and I'll do it. So they asked Red relentlessly if they should do things. Red said, do what's best for you. And then they blamed Red. That's so fucked up. I won't blame you for anything. That is the most bullshit and bad shit lie I've seen in this. Holy fuck. Oh my God. I won't blame you for anything. Writes an entire document blaming him for everything.
That's so embarrassing.
Yeah, that is nanocod in 4K, chat. You're right. That is
so
fucking insane. Yikes. Yikes. I just saw on Twitter that Silverville has 192 pages just on herself. She does. She does. I'm going through all of it. But so far, goddamn, bro. That is crazy. Okay, I gotta get on Twitter, bro. What does Twitter say? I haven't even looked at the timeline right now to see what Twitter is saying. Let's see. All right, what is Twitter saying? Let's see. Yikes, dude. Yeah, okay, I hate to admit it, chat. Remember when everyone shit on Powder for speculating that Nanoless lied? And I mean, I'm a keep it a buck with you. Like, I was like, Powder, you're kind of crazy. You're kind of insane for thinking that. You know what I mean? Damn, bro. Powder was being neutral. Yeah. Hey, man. She was on something. That's crazy. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of people are literally not reading it, right? Most tweets are just saying, I'm not reading that shit. And that's unfortunate. If I'm going to be honest, that is unfortunate for her, because most people will never believe her. And anyone that kind of tries to defend her will probably get shit for it. You know what I mean? Is Mugen still reading it? Does anyone know? I gotta go see. Is he still alive? How long did it take him? Did he read it? How the fuck did he go through all 5,000 of these pages, bro? He took him 4 hours? Ain't no way it took him 4 hours. What is the conclusion that he came down to? Let's see. Okay, what is the conclusion? I don't know. He didn't finish it? No, he didn't finish it. Interesting. So am I the only motherfucker that's insane enough to read the 1,000 pages? He skimmed very quickly. Conclusion is he needs to read. Even if you continue reading it, you'll be the first person to document this live. That's insane. Interesting. That is insane. Okay, well, let's keep going. Rima's on vacation. Mugen didn't finish it. He skimmed it. Jesus Christ. Okay, all right. Well, you know what, chat? We're going through it. Legal Mindset made a post. 24 hours. It's not going to take me 24 hours to read all of it. Okay. You don't want to say I got to do. I'm a free woman. And Perfect Girl, what would be you're working on? Let's see. And then, you know, Red just asking more info. Nano's like, I canceled stuff. And then Red is like, okay, what the hell did you cancel? Obviously trying to figure things out. And then Nano's like, no, I've been thinking about doing this for a long time. Honestly, I would cancel my next model if I didn't feel already so committed to them. But you think about, yeah, so this is, oh my God, bro, this is even worse. Nano said, no regrets. I won't blame you for anything. Okay. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. If there's any damning piece of evidence here, it's Nanoless saying I won't blame you for anything. And that's kind of fucked up. Right? Like this, like, we'll read the doc. Here's what I'm doing. I'm going to screenshot this for now. Because I feel like this might be important later on. But so far, this one screenshot is the most damning piece of evidence in this entire fucking document. And that is so shitty. You know? You better write down the major pages. Okay, here we go. All right. And then let's see. Nanolist shows that she canceled all her projects. Nano was more than able to make her own business decisions and cancel projects, just like November 23, all without me allegedly manipulating her. In her own TOS, Nano states that she can cancel anything she's already agreed on and start on at any time for any reason. She still lied that these cancellations were all because of us. Yep. A month after my one-on-one collab with Nano, I plan to collab with her, my model rigger, and 2 of my model sisters. My model sisters were my friends and not just the one shown here. They claims that I tried to sabotage them or had anything against them or any of my other friends due to working with Nano or having art is blatantly untrue in my apology. I said Nano has an amazing skill where she is able to draw each of her feature children uniquely, so I was never upset seeing new model siblings. In many cases, I was there cheering them on in their debuts and looking to collabs with them as sisters when I could. So she's just showing proof that she actually likes her friends, right? And then okay, I don't care about this. This is just showing proof that, you know, she actually supports the friends, you know. Okay, that's fair. I don't care. This is irrelevant to the conversation. You know what I mean? Like we can skip these pages, right? And here's 2 streams where I supported my model sister Buff Bub's game development endeavors, playing her games on stream. Okay, so she's proving now. She's just proving that she's friends with people, right? Then more Red asking Nano about projects. Team Cinders, Team Nano. Supporting Nano in their streaming endeavors, right? Yeah, this just seems like a supportive conversation. Red worked with Nano to make sure our projects were spaced to accommodate her. Okay, we've seen enough evidence of this throughout it. Yep, still asking if they have time. Okay. One of my brand new model sisters organized a Nano model sister collab with me and another one of our model sisters. I was happy to agree to it and streamed it myself. Red sent Nano a picture of us together. This was the one who found it about it in February on our IRL trip. Is it collab? Yeah, right now. Okay, so this is just showing more support. Another example of how Nano was treated by Red. Yeah, it just seems like Nano and Red were just good friends, right? Cinder 3.0 with NDA. Sorry, Nano, you won. You're a superstar. Nano, when you think about it, you can start finish blank after your move. Yeah, no, I mean, he's very accommodating. He seems like a very accommodating person, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's just, this is like, given the context of everything, he was very accommodating, you know? It's a weird, unnecessary addition to it, but I guess she's just trying to prove that they were tight like that. They were friends, right? After Nana won her VTuber award, she posted an image of her current and upcoming models. She told me who those 3 models were. With one being one of the people Cinder praised Nano to. Interesting. We won Parent of the Year. I wanted to show you every model I've done so far. Nano, hold you, congrats. Hear my own message to Nano after they won. So Cinder congratulates Nano. Okay, that's fair. Not necessary to the conversation. Another conversation we read in Nano, as you can see over the course of the messages, Nano worked with as many other people besides us, and it was never a problem. Red often praised her work, regardless of who she was working with. Let's see. Not a big rush. We get a lot of things. We start working with you after you're feeling better. Do you have any work outside of Cinder at the moment? Just 2 other projects. What are they? Are you working on your own stuff again? Okay, cool. So cool. Good luck with working with blank. Like, wow, yeah, no, Red supported Nano working with other people, despite Nano not wanting to work with other people. Wow. Wow. Yikes, this is pretty damning. My messages wishing Nano luck was about this. So saying, hey, good luck with trying to work with more Calliope, I believe. Red asking about the hentai thing again that they had brought up in 2023. And then Nano's like, I'm okay with drawing it, which is cool. Nano's like, I trust you guys using me. That's interesting. The next event in the timeline was Nano was when she and Red made their exclusivity deal. But before we go over that, I want to just why we thought to ask her about exclusivity in the first place. There was another person we were consistently working with That was artist number 1. They wanted to discuss a permanent paid position with us, suggesting some kind of exclusivity for the work they did, just like Nano. Red handled any business-related discussion with them. There is more that happened with artist number 1 in Bow and Silver section in the document. Artist number 1 mentioned Red to pitch him the idea. Okay, so artist number 1. Also, when you got some time, I got some business to talk to you about. This was January 2025. What's up? Okay, so given the past months of pretty much only working with Cinder stuff, the upcoming planned projects, and all kinds you had in mind, and the workload forecast in general, it got me thinking, and I wanted to pitch an idea your way for you to think about. It's not small, but I figured I'd float the idea your way to see what you think of it. What do you think of changing the way we do things for commission based to something more like with a permanent salaried position? Since some of the concerns that were brought up before were surrounding availability and being able to clone myself, I was thinking that this way I'd be able to guarantee 40 hours a week dedicated entirely to Cinder, as well as flexible schedule availability to match the needs of the team. The full range of my skill set would be at the disposal of the team. So in addition to the core discipline like animation, rigging, VFX, and what kind of stuff I also help with stuff like project management, graphic design, and merch photos, IT, web development, and basically whatever else I can do or need. And since all the work done as a result would be basically in-house, there would be no commercial rights or else tied to it. Obviously, no need to answer straight away. This is not by any means insignificant, so take time needed to think about it. It's not unreasonable to ask. What would you be asking for a month's pay? Like with our editors, we pay him month to month with a fixed amount. Given the wide range of skills, background, and extensive work experience, I was thinking something potentially in the range of blank a month. That's a big ass number, bro. Holy shit. What the fuck is that number? Why is this number so big? And then Red said, I'll talk to Cinder. Artist 1 messaged Red the next morning about the video editor and said that they'd been willing to offer some kind of exclusive deal due to competitiveness in the field. And a brief conversation Red and I had about it, we agreed that if we were going to pay them consistently for their work, like my video editor, we'd want to work out some kind of exclusivity with them. Let's see. I was wondering, the editor you have in payroll, do you have some sort of non-compete exclusivity agreement with them? For example, assuming it's blank, he could only edit for Bow or something. It is blank, and with him, it's kind of just a spoken agreement thing. We offered him to be exclusive, and he didn't take us up on it. But yeah, he just us and Bow. Interesting. Okay, so this is where the Bow editor thing comes in, right? Probably arranged. Oh, it probably could be arranged. I could follow. Okay, I was asking because I had some time to think about our conversation yesterday, reflecting on competitiveness in the field and saying at the top, brought on by the blank bit, and that in the event we do work something out, I'd be willing to offer some sort of VTuber non-compete exclusivity policy on some type of work I do for example, things that are pretty unique to Cinder, such as model VFX work for the blank, I'd only exclusively do for Cinder. That's something Cinder and I were thinking about too. We didn't really get to talk about it much yet. So, Nanolist brought up the idea to Cinder and Red. Artist 1 also brings up the idea to Cinder and Red.
For all of this
right?
Info.
So this is interesting. Next time Red and I talk about this, he said that we should ask Nano for some kind of exclusivity too. Nano suggested to him in September and talked to Artist 1. And talking to Artist 1 gave him the idea to ask her about it again. In my apology, I said we had come to the conclusion in his best interest to talk to Nano about making it more time for my projects by negotiating with her to cut out of work. This was wrong for us to push her onto, and it was wrong to her and other creators who wanted the chance to work with her. What I should have said was negotiating with her to take on less work. We were never thinking about asking her to cut out or canceling anything she already had planned. Red and I had agreed that we should ask Nano to not accept any more brand new model clients and to not make model outfits for Silvervale anymore. Nano would have more time to work on my projects, and Silver wouldn't be able to get another model from Nano and wouldn't be compared to her if she chose to get a new one from someone else. Okay, so this is her admitting, yeah, when Nano asked for the exclusivity thing, we came back and said, okay, yeah, specifically don't work with Silvervale. You know what? That's a fair admittance. At this rate, that's probably the most fucked up thing that you've done so far. Right? This is what I said about Silvervale in my apology in regards to exclusivity. So at that point, I was working with Nano consistently, and we brought up not making any more models for her. If a feature model is how everyone recognizes it, it'd be harder for us to compare directly if we don't look alike or have this shared similarity. It was a wrong and selfish decision, but it made me feel better. Yada yada. We read that before. I don't know why I said it was a constant topic with Nano or that Red pushed harder for this, other than being overly apologetic. Red had only had any meaningful conversation about Silver with Nano in May and July of 2023, and 2 situations that involved in November 2023 and January 2025. So her initial apology, as bad as it was, also just made her look worse because she didn't have the full context of anything, which I think is both hilarious and unfortunate. Right? Like, that is interesting. Sidra contradicts herself a lot in this document. I mean, she's contradicting her past self here. That's for sure. But I mean, I have enough context by reading the actual conversations with Nanoless to understand that, like, while she is contradicting herself, it doesn't, it doesn't take away from the fact that Nanoless lied, right? Yeah, if she just waited to post this and not the initial document, she would have been fine, right? As for the exclusivity, Artist One, Red and I already agreed that we wanted to have it for their work and didn't talk about naming anyone to them. That was when Nano and Red made their exclusivity deal. I didn't know Red was planning to talk to her about it that day, or even knew that he had until they had already come to an agreement. Without my involvement, Red brought this up to Nano in their private DMs and not in our project server chat where all 3 of us were. The quotes for my apology above refer to this deal they made. In Nano and Bao's documents, this conversation was presented out of order, purposely left out information. I will admit, I think even I pointed this out, that the conversation was out of order. And I was like, why is it out of order? This doesn't make sense, right? Like, I had said that. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. This was the second of 4 total times with 3 different artists.
Can you read?
I had never...
What are you, stupid?
Yes. I had never ever specifically asked anyone not to work with someone else, which are all presented in this document. In the instance, it was negotiations for an exclusivity deal. And then this is, let's see. Oh, because this is when they asked for the exclusivity thing. So they just brought up what Nano had already been asking for. And Nano talked to other friends about the deal or whatever. And then Red gave terms or whatever. So it looks like. Red, you got to stop with preserving the value of nano models. That, like, this is a stupid thing to say out loud. That you're doubling down on the dumbest statement you could make, right? Like, I told Nano we were looking for exactly what Sin and I agreed to, not taking on any brand new model clients and not to make more model outfits with Silverveil, which again is the most fucked up thing that you've admitted to so far. Existing model client work in art commission wouldn't be affected. This was so Nano would have more time to focus on our project, and it was the only other time since November 2023 that I ever mentioned anything about the value of Nano's models, the more there were. You know what? Yeah, Red makes himself look bad, bro. But I think Nano lying makes them look ridiculously bad too. Right? So we've seen this stuff in the other document as well. And then, are you sure? I'm not really down on working with people who Cinder doesn't want to. Yeah, but this would be the second time you're canceling on her. Yeah, we saw this conversation in the other thing or whatever. And if you're content her and a friend, and just because she and Nano's waitlist in the past, none of them were ever discussing Cinder with Cinder, and Cinder strongly disagreed with what I thought about Bao. But I was going to make a deal with Nano that I wanted to try Bao at the very least, including your names was entirely on me. Yeah, so Red, interesting. So this is the evidence that they keep showing that made it seem like Red and Cinder made Nano do this when Nano initially brought it up. And when Red decided to bring it up again, he mentioned Bao, like all these other people. But that was probably because Nano had already canceled on them. I didn't want them to be able to get a model from Nano, but I wasn't looking to have her cancel anything on anyone. I knew Nano didn't have anything lined up with Silver. At the time, I just heard that she had Cotton down for a model, and when she canceled in 2023, I was under the impression that Bao moved on to other artists after Nano canceled her the first time, since that was the last time Nano mentioned it. I had no idea Nano even had Bao on her to-do list again. So I said it was fine to leave things as they were when Nano revealed it to me. I did feel bad about the idea that Nano's canceling Bao a second time, even if I didn't want her to work with Nano, and I would have left it there. Nano asked me if I was sure, and I said she's not down to work with people Cinder didn't want her to. Cinder only agreed to ask Nano about Silverville and did not agree with me about Bao. Before this, I was using we an hour. Okay, this is just a miscommunication with the couple thing, which I still think is stupid and shitty on both their parts. But realistically, I feel like this situation could have been prevented if when Red came back and asked for the exclusivity thing, they didn't bring up the bullshit that they had talked about in the past with Silverville. And specifically naming people made them look infinitely worse than the intent. You know what I mean? Right? Like, he might have real beef with Silverville, but bringing up Bao here was dumb. Which is, again, Bao got caught in the crossfire. You know what I mean? I knew about what happened with Cotton and Friend, and I distanced myself from her because of it. But I absolutely do not agree with it was a good reason for Red to involve her. What happened had nothing to do with me, and it wasn't our place to do anything like this because of it. What Red described to Nano below was his incorrect theory about Bao making her editors Sakamore go exclusive with her because of Boss Rush music video he made. I knew he thought this way in December, but I never agreed with him, and he held it against her. I was completely unaware of any of this. So, Nano, I should have talked to Bao about it, but I never did. Interesting. Okay. It's not really about fixing her reputation at this point. It's about her getting a court answered in full truth. She would get some of her reputation back, but I doubt she would ever get all of it. I highly doubt she will even get back to what she was at before. I think she'll be fine. I would rather work with Cinder than Bao, don't worry. Was this context present in the original document? Because I don't know. Oh, wait, no, I don't think it was, because this is talking about, like, Cottontail hurting one of their friends. Right? So Cottontail did something Cinder didn't like. Or whatever. Interesting. Okay. It wasn't. Interesting. And then this is where Red tells Nano about the music video thing. But they included the context of the music video, but they didn't include the context of... That's so fucked, bro. They cherry picked every bit in the conversation that made them look good. Right? That's so fucked up. My comment about Silver really gave her some based on a personal opinion and things. We saw Silver using her 3D model. Predominantly the time was one way we justified asking Nano this. I didn't ask anything about Cinder's insecurities about comparison between them, but Cinder talked to Nano about it, and when Nano went to her about canceling our agreement, my message about Cotton was cut out in the screenshot in Nano's document, but not in Bao's document. I don't know why Nano would do that herself and would later say to me, I don't really care about Bao and Cotton. Nano's message saying, I rather work with Cinder than Bao being Cinder's mom means a lot to me, were removed as well, and this was framed as me showering her with love to manipulate her. Yep, that's exactly what happened in the document. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Wow. So these are the proof that, yeah, okay. That's fucked up. I was mad about for what I thought was her gatekeeping her music video editor Sakamore from working us. The other things I said about her here is all the nonsense, not issues that became illicit grievances after what I thought she did. There are more details about this in Bao's section of the document. It sounded so harsh because I was angry about it and I was venting to someone I trusted about something I genuinely believed happened. I thought that if she was going to gatekeep her editor, then I was going to try to gatekeep our artist. Okay, so this is just Red beefing for no fucking reason. You know what I mean? Which is fucked up, right? Like Red admittedly fucked up here, and with the Cinder thing, with the Silver Veil thing. Can I say something though? Cinder has still yet to do anything wrong in all of this, except date Red. Like, yeah, can I be real? Like so far, Cinder has done nothing wrong except date Red. Like, what the fuck is happening? Holy shit, man. Evan, nah, you're right. I'm okay. I'm gonna make my tweet, bro. I'm gonna make my initial tweet on this document. I am currently reading all 1,000 pages of the Cinder doc on stream, and my conclusions so far are that Cinder legitimately did nothing wrong here except date Red. Uh that is we'll see. Pyro Pups will like you at least. Yeah. People are gonna hate me for it, but it's true. It is true. Uh I'll make it a thread. Okay. I made the tweet. I will stand by these words so far. I genuinely though, I think like so far it's just Red. Like the conversations are stemming from like unless I get significant proof that you know, Cinder is in other people's DMs talking shit. You know, like, yeah, again, couples do kind of make decisions together, right? I'll give you that. But realistically, the decisions they made are not as bad as the fucked up lying that Nanoless did, you know? And that's wild. It's going to be funny at the end if you make an I take it back tweet. That's true. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And then we can do a deal. I'll cancel my models with Bow forever. Jesus Christ. Nano, why would you say this, dude? That's so fucked up. Correction, couples should make decisions together. They don't always. I guess that's fair. I guess that's actually fair. That's wild, dude. That's wild. Hi, how are you? We're going through the entire doc. Nano 2. All right, let's see. How much would the blank rigging do when you need it? Be okay. About the new babies, that would be another deal. What about we can pay you blank? Okay, so they came to an agreement. We saw parts of this and the other thing. Whatever. Nana told me we'd have a separate deal for new model clients, separate from her proposed idea about Bow cancellation and her model regain payment. That deal is what she earlier said she'd want some kind of payment for. Instead of focusing on new model clients, I chose to focus on the people I listed to her and offer the deal above. She said that she wanted some kind of payment agreement for a new model exclusivity, which would be another deal, but I didn't refuse to pay her for it like it was claimed. The original proposition was only over models, but since I pivoted and see, okay, this is a damning thing, right? This is the damning, like this part here where he says you don't work with Bao, Cotton, Silvervale at all again makes him look so fucking bad, right? Because he was just kind of repeating what she was giving. You know what I mean? But then she put it on her doc and it made him look like a piece of shit. That's so fucked, bro. It's crazy that the doc came out right before TwitchCon. True. But yeah, interesting. Anyway, we'll keep going. We could do it like when Silver asked for art, but you tell her no. Okay, we saw this. And then Nano's like, yeah, I'd do it. And then Nano's like, I want to do Cinder work. And then Red goes to ask about it or whatever. Dude, Nano was in on this, bro. Like, you can't say you were manipulated when you brought up the idea and then you were all in. You know what I mean? In your opinion, is Nano in the right or wrong? Absolutely fucking wrong, bro. This bitch is a goddamn fucking liar. All right? I have nothing against Nano, but let's just say, gun to my head, you asked me to trust Nano with my life, I'd say shoot me. No way, bro. like that's crazy. That's what I was saying, because at first it wasn't making sense. Are we canceling Nano? I don't think Nano needs to be canceled. I just think Nano needs to be held accountable or take accountability for their actions, right? Like, just be like, all right, guys, maybe, like, even if you don't want to admit that you lied, at the very least be like, okay, maybe I didn't include all of the context and I'm sorry, right? Like, you don't have to be like, shit, bro, I lied, I got caught in it. You know, just say, yeah, I didn't include all the context. You know, I don't know. I still think we need to hold judgment until we read the full thing. No, that's fair. I think that you are right in that statement that you should not make any full judgment until you read the entire thing. But my thoughts on Nanoless alone so far is that Nanoless is a fucking liar. If I saw her, I'd tell that to her fucking face. You're a fucking liar, you know? Like, I think that much is true. I think if I saw Cinder right now, I'd say, Cinder, you're kind of a dumb motherfucker. I don't know why the fuck you're dating Red. You two are in a very toxic relationship. You should fucking break up. And I honestly, honest to God, going through this so far, I don't think you did anything fucking wrong except date that stupid motherfucker that said things that made you look worse. Right? I think that's what I'd say. I dropped my bottle. I'm learning from this other drama. If I become a VTuber, I'm learning how to draw and rig myself. I was saying to you, I read the whole thing. You reckon a breakup would save her career? No, she doesn't have to break up with him. I think they should break up because it's better for her mental health. But I think in reality, if she wants to stay with him, that's her own fucking business. I think it's dumb, but sure, do it. Her career will be fine regardless. She has enough people on her side. Her Pyro Pups never left to begin with, right? So she'll be fine regardless if she dates him or not. You know what I mean? And then Nano agreed to the deal, which is wild. Nano and I went back and forth negotiating a deal. We both agreed to and made a deal on each other's word, and there was no contract involved. She had equal say in what she wanted or needed out of the deal before agreeing to it. She was fully aware that she was agreeing to and was completely capable of turning me down if she had chosen to, and I would have accepted that like always. But if I knew all along I could just manipulate Nano to do whatever I wanted, like I was I had allegedly done before, including canceling models. Why didn't I just do that instead of making any kind of deal with her in the first place? That was a mutual agreement made between both of us. She made the offer to cancel Bao's model. We negotiated, and both of us agreed to the deal we made. But the end of this conversation and the final terms of our deal were never shown in Nano's document. Also, I refused to pay for exclusivity like it was falsely claimed in her. I didn't refuse to pay for exclusivity like it was falsely claimed in her document. I was absolutely open for exclusivity payments, just like I was for Artist 1 in our video editor shown in Bao section and Artist number 2 in Silvervale section. Nano suggested it for model exclusivity, but like she said, that would be another deal. I moved on from that to focus on the 3 people I brought up, and both sides agreed to this deal without revisiting the idea of payments again. And other than paying for her model rigging, there was no manipulation. I didn't lie to her about what I actually believed at the time. I did and always have cared for our friends, and I was under the impression that what Bao did was against me. Cinder, Tricky, and Vienna and Cotton hurt another one of our friends I cared about. I made this mistake in trying to do what I thought was right by them at the time without considering the people it would affect. That's wild, bro. That's wild, bro. That's absolutely wild. Yeah. All right. We're almost done with this section. After this happened, I told Nano agreed she wouldn't work on Silverville at all. We'd continue working with Nano on a lot of projects like we've always done. We'd fully pay for Nano's new model rigging, and she'd be set a free demon figure. Red never told me about Bao and Cotton were talking about including our agreement, or that Bao had another model that was canceled. Their deal didn't include the part about Nano not taking any new model clients we had talked about before, but it was okay and leaving it as I was told it was okay. I don't know how much I believe that they didn't talk about that, if I'm going to be honest. Realistically, I think couples talk about a lot of things, but also I think realistically, like, I don't think it was a place of malicious intent though, you know, given all the fucking shit that Red talked about. I think like if they did talk about it, it was never because of malicious intent. But I actually, realistically, I'm also more inclined to believe that they actually didn't talk about it. Just given the fact that, like, even if they did talk about it, it's a stupid thing to lie about. It's a very stupid thing to lie about, for sure. I don't know. I didn't sleep. It was supposed to be 7, spent 3 hours in dock then, and I'm here watching Evan, and I need work in 2 hours. Dude, go to work. There is nothing tangible I can show to prove that I didn't know what happened between them, and I can't prove that I didn't know something. You know, that's fair. I didn't tell Cinder everything because I knew she would disagree with me on Bao and she'd get pissed. I was confident she wouldn't find out about it, though, with how all of the business discussions with Nano were through me. And even if she did later, then it would already be long done. Cinder wouldn't have told Bao about it after the fact either. I was stubborn and wanted to get back at the kind of person I thought Bao was, more than keeping Cinder's feelings in mind. I didn't mention Cotton's name to Cinder either, since I didn't know she'd react, and I didn't want her to find out about Bao. She only agreed to Silver, so that's all I told her. Shortly after the deal was made, Nano, he told me about Red message Artist number 1 and our thoughts on their agreement. Let's see. We aren't against the idea of paying you month to month to have you a permanent teammate. However, we are concerned we won't get the full use of your services, since things like project management, graphic design, IT, and web development may not be or always be applicable. Okay, so this is just them rejecting the other person, right? So this is unnecessary to the conversation. I do think. Yeah, this is unnecessary to the conversation. Because Silver didn't like Cinder and I had something against Bao, I considered Bao and Silvervale competition. Artist number 1 didn't know either of our thoughts on Silvervale or Bao, unlike what I told Nano. I didn't bother to bring up Cotton's name since she never interacted with Artist number 1. So this is just them proving that Nano was the only person they ever shit talked to, it looks like. Which is fair, I guess. Nano canceled the exclusivity deal she made with Red about a month after it was made so that she can work with Silvervale. Conversation with Red wasn't included at all in Nano's document, only my DMs with her. Nano faced no repercussions from either of us going back on our word, and Silvervale didn't lose out on any project with Nano because of her agreement with Red. Red, hi Nano, I'm waiting for here from GamerSubs label. I'm fine with working on the model in the meanwhile. So about the exclusivity thing, I don't think I can do this to Silver because she's still a friend to me and it hurt me to do so. I don't really care about Bao and Cotton. Jesus Christ. I was wondering if I could pay back the figure and the rigging with our current comms. I totally understand if you think that's unfair from my side. Honestly, I thought it had guts. Also, let me know if I had plans made so far it changed after this. You know what this looks like, bro? Like, Nano has flip-flopped so goddamn hard throughout this entire thing that, like, she is... Like, I wouldn't know what she's telling other people. But we know she lied in the past to, I believe, Silver, right? Or was it about whoever she lied to initially. But then she goes back to them after saying that she doesn't care about them. Right? She goes, oh, I don't care about these people. I don't want to work for Silver or Cinder. But then goes, actually, I lied. I'm going to work for them. Right? Like, it's so weird. It's so weird. This is the most pages on a Google Doc I've ever heard, and I wonder how long it took to complete. That's what I'm wondering too. She's incapable of following through. Yeah. Nano couldn't keep her word on the deal she agreed to because Silver asked her for a commission. Silver lost no work with Nano, just like in November 2023. Silver was a tipping point for her, so I don't know why she agreed on our deal to begin with. Nano still had no problem sharing with me exactly what she was doing for Silver over a week. I never got confirmation with Nano that she canceled Bao's model a second time before or after she walked back in our argument, and I never asked. I had mostly moved on from my volatile feelings towards Bao and no longer consider her competition. So it looks like, realistically, Nano asked for exclusivity and then didn't even fully commit or agree to it. Said that she had canceled on people, but then she didn't. But then canceled on them again. Nano messaged me the next day about her walking back in a deal. She met her at Red. She had already talked to me about her canceling the agreement, specifically to work with Silver on something she... what is this screenshot, by the way? Nano went back on our agreement 1 week after we paid for her model rigging. Oh my... They paid for her model? They paid for her model to be rigged. And then she... Oh, that's so shitty. Oh, that's so shitty. Oh! Bro, she finessed them. Bro, she finessed the fuck out of them. Said, hey, can you pay for my rigging? They paid for it. And then she said, yo, psych, I'm gonna work with the other people. Ha ha ha. Oh. She did offer to pay it back, I will say. She did say she was willing to pay it back, right? If I could pay back the figure and the rigging with our current comms. She did say that, right? That's still kind of shitty though, right? You're like, all right. Nano got tired of hearing about Silvervale and didn't want to be involved in the issues regarding her, but didn't say anything about keeping her out of drama to Red. She faced no backlash, right? Yeah. When Nano had mentioned me about the agreement almost a month later, I was under the assumption that it was only about Silvervale, and I was sending my initial messages to her. All right, let's see. I want to say sorry for sending back for the exclusivity deal. We wanted to apologize personally to you. I've only talked about with Red, but I just don't want to be dragged on any personal issues like this after Silver's still a client, and it makes me anxious and kind of destroys my mental to just kind of deal. From every conversation we've seen so far, which by the way, we obviously don't have the full context, Silvervale hasn't been mentioned in so fucking long. Nano brought up Silvervale. You know what I mean?